Hi guys, welcome back. Final round selections. Let's start with Wales versus England, final round of the Autumn Nations Cup. The form book says England should win, but it's in Wales, and plus whenever Wales play England they certainly raise their game, so expect another good one. So selection wise for England, the props were under pressure I thought, but the starting props did very well versus Ireland, so I think Mako and Sinclair stay in. Certainly Genji's knocking at the door, but I think Mako, Vunipola and Sinclair felt the pressure from them and they certainly upped their game. It was the best game I saw from Vunipola and Sinclair for a while. George obviously stays, his starting spot has been class consistently. Cowan-Dickie played for Exeter this week, so I think he goes back on the bench instead of Dunn. Dunn's done nothing wrong, but I think Cowan-Dickie is the class there. He looked fit to me, he played a game, so I think he goes back on the bench. In the second row, obviously Itoje, consistently world class. Launchbury took his chance against Ireland. He hasn't played a lot for England recently, but we've got the absence of Laws and Cruz. Obviously Cruz not available, plus Johnny Hill's not that experienced, so he's stood up and I think he'll keep the jersey for this week as well. And the back row, well, it's the World Cup back row. Kamikaze twins were absolutely amazing, as they obviously stay. And Billy actually had one of his best games for a long time. So he's gradually getting himself back into form, doing some more athletic parts of the game as well, turnovers, etc. I thought he looked a bit quicker on his feet, which is great. Also a better game from Farrell against Ireland. Crossfield kicks was lovely, the one for May especially. His defence was very strong. But in attack, obviously Farrell wasn't the best because England didn't really push their attacking game that much, so still that bit to go, but better for Farrell. May obviously had a cracking game last week. And the Slade-Lawrence partnership, I thought that actually clicked into place a bit more. They swapped around a bit when it suited them. Lawrence was taking some hard lines, Slade was ball playing a bit. And I like that Lawrence really popped back on his feet very quickly, got back in the defensive line, possibly a little quicker than Manitou Alangi might as well, and Eddie likes that sort of work rate, so that's good. I mean, one possible change I'd go for is Watson back in if he's fit for Joseph. I don't know if he is or not, but Joseph to stay if not. And Malin is not really getting a look in at 15 because Daly's been so consistently good. So really no changes there at all from against Ireland. The one change on the bench there, I'll go for Cowan-Dickie back in like I said, but apart from that really can't see any point in changing the team. I don't think any changes would particularly improve it. Obviously the competition there is for back row. We could say Willis goes in, but Earl was excellent off the bench actually. And crikey, shouldn't Sam Simmons be in the squad, England's squad, the wider squad? Wasn't he amazing again for Exeter at the weekend? And I think in his first try you saw him almost shrug to the camera and say, what more can I do? So for goodness sake, bring Sam Simmons into the training squad for the Six Nations at least. Right, let's go for Wales. Now, I think in the front row, Wales should go with Wyn Jones and Lee. They're the best scrummagers. You're going to need them against England. Hooker, it's tricky really. I think you go with D. Elias has been okay, but not enough really to go back in, I don't think. So I'd stick Elias on the bench. Certainly they've been struggling to find who their best hooker is. Now Owens is injured. In the second row, I think the physicality of Ball is what they're going to need against England. Wainwright did well against Georgia, so I think he starts, but I put him at 6 with Faletau going back to 8. Now with Tipuric probably out with concussion, they really need Navidi to be fit. I hope he is. Him going in at 7, and then again if Moriarty's fit, I'd pop him on the bench, but I'm not sure if he is. If not, then both of them. At 9, Webb I think is their best 9. I've been saying this all along, but Thomas Williams very close, so I'd have him on the bench. And at fly half, I've gone back to the experience of Biggar. Patchell hasn't played yet, so I wouldn't put him in, even though I'd want him to have played by now. Sheedy, inexperienced, but you could play him, so toss up really at 10. I've gone back to Biggar, let me know what you think. In the centres, now, bit of a shock here. I've left Jonathan Davies out of the starting team. He's on the bench because he hasn't shown the form, really, I think, that deserves him to start. He would only be starting, on past experience or things he's done in the past. I'm not sure that's the way to go at the moment. So I'd give Johnny Williams and Tompkins another run. Seems, almost sacrilegious to leave out Jonathan Davies, but I think now's a good time to do it. He's still not up to full fitness. McNichol looks like he's probably out injured, which mucks things up a little bit, but I think you bring back Halfpenny into 15. Liam Williams drops to the one wing. And then I'll probably put Adams on the other wing and have Reece Zammit on the bench. In the future, Lane's someone to look out for as well. And then on the bench, as is, Botham, maybe Moriarty if he's fit, Thomas Williams, Jonathan Davies and Reece Zammit. That's my team. Let me know what you think. Now for Ireland against Georgia. Ireland are going to win this match, I believe. They can play their strongest team but still experiment at the same time, I think, and this is how. Front row to stay the same. Kelleher clearly had a bit of a shocker in the line out, but they need to keep playing him. That's what I said last time when I picked him. He's going to make mistakes. I don't think there's anyone better, so you might as well just stick with the guy. If you dropped him now, you might destroy a bit of confidence in the young guy. In the second row, I'd go for Henderson and Ryan. Now, Henderson I thought should have started last match instead of Roux, and I think I was probably right on that one. Ryan's come under a bit of flack for his line-out calling and some silly decisions, but he's a hard man. He tackles hard, he carries hard. Maybe Henderson needs to take a bit of that responsibility off his shoulders so Ryan can just get on and play. I don't know. If Ryan's going to be the captain potentially, or in the future, he's going to have to shoulder some responsibility. In the back row, well, I'll change it up a bit. Connors, I think it's time for a bit of a move. Let's move Connors to 6. He's a tall guy, he's a big guy. I know in a previous video I did question if he was big enough, but I was thinking of another player, I think, in my head, to be honest. I'll put Levy in at 7. Levy's been back playing now. Before he was injured, he was absolutely the man, so I think he needs to get back in the 7 shirt. I think Ireland need him as well. Doris has been fantastic for a young guy. He goes back to 8. He's a potential future back row anyway, so I think that's the way to go. Probably leaving Stander on the bench for cover. Murray's a fairly easy call at 9. Gibson Park learnt a lot against England for sure, but I think Murray needs to start now. If Sexton's fit, he comes back in. If not, I think Billy Burns starts. I mean, Ross Byrne was okay, but I think at this level, okay is probably not good enough, to be honest. In the centres, they don't have a huge amount of choice. They could, but I think you stick with Aki and Farrell. Weren't that great against England, but, weren't awful either, so they need a bit more time together. Lowe to stay, Earls to stay. Earls was a ball of energy against England, so I think that's fair enough. Keenan's done okay, made a few errors against England, but he's got the skills. You've got Stockdale on the bench for a bit of an impact. Plus, I'd bring Baird back onto the bench. He's back fit. He is the future, I believe, of Ireland's second row. Please let me know what you think of those teams, what you would do, and I will catch you next time.